Out of Patek's 2021 novelties, it is the sport watches that have received the bulk of attention. Yet, these are the models that have involved the least innovation, potentially created by a Patek intern using Photoshop. In my opinion, Patek's best release this year is actually the 5236P inline perpetual calendar. Here's why. The 5236 is the world's first inline perpetual calendar wristwatch and takes inspiration from the P1450 Patek pocket watch. Compared to Patek's conventional perpetual calendars, the inline display alone requires 118 additional parts. The display is formed by 4 discs and is very power hungry. As a result, Patek has increased the torque of the spring barrel and boosted winding power via a platinum microrotor. The movement in the 5236 also boasts at least 3 Patek patents that reduce energy loss to friction, protect the watch from shock, and covers the instance when the date changes from the 31st to the 1st. Movement innovation aside, the 5236 is a very handsome package. Let's start with the caseback. Having owned a Patek World Time, I have to say that the brand's micro-rotor movements are typically underwhelming. They're quite boring to look at architecturally, and the finishing is nothing to shout about. But this isn't the case with the caliber in the 5236. Finishing is a step above the micro-rotor movements in my own watch, and the caseback is much more interesting to look at thanks to the 2 separate cocks for the escape wheel and balance wheel. The dial is even more exciting. When light hits the vertically brushed blue gradient dial at the right angle, the 5236 is one of the most beautiful watches in existence. It also features one of the simplest perpetual calendar displays. As per Thierry Stern, simplicity is difficult. For my 17cm wrist, this watch is highly wearable and versatile. The 41.3mm diameter and 11.5mm thickness allows the 5236 to strike a good balance between being a casual watch and dress watch. I also enjoy the heft and the weight of the 5236. The weight is well distributed and sufficient to feel substantial, without being too heavy like a platinum Lange datograph. While the 5236 is great due to the movement innovation, historical significance, and it being a great package overall, the watch definitely leaves things to be desired. For one, I would prefer it if the watch used a different case. The current case comes from the reference 5235 annual calendar regulator and is also similar to that of the reference 3448, Patek's first automatic perpetual calendar. It also fits the overall ethos of simplicity. However, I find the case too simple and too sharp. I think it would be great if the simple dial were juxtaposed with one of Patek's more complex cases. Next, the operating window of the watch is too small. For the 5236, it's extremely hard to get the blue to light up. One needs diffuse light to hit the dial from the side, or else the dial turns black and becomes a galore of reflections. So given the pros and cons, would I buy one? At over 171,000 Sing dollars, I'd consider it, but it wouldn't be at the top of my list. I think that at the price range, there are simply too many other watches I consider more exciting. For perpetual calendars, I would heavily consider a VC Overseas Perpetual or Lange 1 Perpetual, both of which are cheaper. I'd also think about independents, like the Kari Voutilainen, De Bethune, Urwerk, MB&F, or Romain Gaultier. A big thank you to Watch Out Singapore on Instagram for letting me spend 2 weeks with his awesome 5236P. Also, thank you for taking the time to watch this video.